Well, we've reached the moment of truth. Both pans are out of the oven. The recipe, as you may have noticed, doesn't include things like whether they should turn brown before they come out, or whether they should, pass a toothpick test. It also says, this is one of those good ones, don't let them get too cool before cutting them. What the heck does that mean? So the first one, the pan came out, because I baked the first one and then I baked the second one, so they'd be on the same shelf in the oven. So the first one came out probably half an hour ago. That's the one that had the walnuts in it instead of the chocolate chips. This is cool enough to touch, obviously. Still a little warm, but it's not bad. The other one probably came out about 15 minutes ago. That's still pretty warm to the touch on the bottom. On the sides, on the top it's fine, but on the sides, or on the bottom, it's a little too warm to touch. But my guess is, based on the way they went in and based on the fact that there's like no leavening in this at all, unless potato chips are a leavener, that they're kind of shortbready, and so you need to cut them before they solidify. So, knife, pan, here we go. You're supposed to cut them in 1.5-inch squares so that out of the 9-inch pan you get 36 of them. I'm just going to cut like one. Oh, actually it cuts really easily, that's nice. It does have that kind of shortbread texture. But let's see how they come out of the pan. It's a little weird cutting it because there's the actual chunks that are the walnut, and then there's the not quite chunk that's the potato chip. So I think these should have baked longer. I baked them for the 15 minutes, but, sorry, pre-bit on that. I think it was just a walnut. It's a little bit greasy on the bottom. If you watch the Great British Bake Off or Great British Baking Show, whatever it's called, we'd find out that I have a soggy bottom. Needs to be in the oven a little longer. So let's see how it goes, though. I mean, it's a little bit flaky on top. It's really, really dense. No surprise, there's no leavening. Okay, here we go. The texture is a little odd because you've got layers of potato chip along with chunks of walnut and flour. Oddly enough, although I really want to mock it, it is kind of like basic shortbread cookie tasting. It tastes a little bit like some of the cookies that you make at Christmas time that really are just like flour and sugar and a little bit of vanilla. Yeah, I'm not going to have another bite of that right now. I am going to try the other one, though. I'm going to cut into the one with the chocolate chips. Now, I left it in the oven just a little bit longer, which is why it got brown on the edge. But in part, that was because it's so much thicker. It's an 8x8 pan instead of a 9x9, which doesn't sound like much until you actually turn to somebody who paid attention to geometry in college or high school or junior high. And you realize that an 8x8 pan is 64 inches, 9x9 is 81 inches, so it's a lot of difference in surface area. So it does get a lot thicker. It got brown on the edges, though, which is nice. That could also be because of lighter weight pan. Okay, this one, a little bit drier on the bottom. Now remember, this had the rippled chips and then chocolate chips as well. Because I thought maybe, the chocolate and salty is kind of good. Okay, this came apart really weird. It's like falling apart in chunks in my hand. It might be because it's too warm, but Okay, we'll go with this piece. It's kind of the consistency of a poorly baked chocolate chip cookie. Again, I think that might get better when it cools. The flavor is actually better in the regular one. So even with the chocolate, that's not a redeeming factor in this. Yeah, tried it again, still not great. Okay, I'm gonna lean over and grab a towel to wipe my hands. I'll be right back. Okay, so here's the thing. In the initial video, I mentioned that this was published, and so it should maybe be good. I should mention that I've worked on a number of books in the past that were cookbooks, and so I know that that's not always true. But typically, at least the person who's publishing it thinks that it's a really good recipe and it works really well. Otherwise, they wouldn't be putting it out there for the world to see. This one, I think, is really it depends on what you like thing. I think this is something you would grow into, and it would be a comfort food if you were so inclined. For me, I think I'll stick to regular shortbread or chocolate chip cookies. Leave the potato chips in the bag with some dip. Or, you know, dunk them in some chocolate and have chocolate-covered potato chips. That would be okay, too. But, yeah, so I have 2 pans of this. If anybody wants some, come on over. I'll happily save it for you. Otherwise, wow, okay. Do you have something you want me to try out? As you can tell, I'm game, even if it turns out to be kind of an iffy flop. All right? So let me know. And otherwise, well, I'll see you in a week.